All right, guys, welcome to a live episode of Cleaning and Cocktails. I don't get the chance to do this that often. And if you remember, the purpose of Cleaning and Cocktails was to have these type of live sessions. So I'm excited, pumped to have these guys here. Well, Ricky, he's always here. So I got Juan Chaparro from Pipehire, Armando Bello from Janitorial Store, my house cleaning biz. You guys, thank you so much for joining us. This is I kind of threw this on you guys, all right?
Yeah. I came in for lunch, pizza, and here we are drinking Casa Azul.
Shout out to Casa Azul. Thank you guys for, Nicole, Brandy, the Casa Azul team for providing us, supporting the podcast and giving us so much product. We love you guys. All right, guys.
Is that time?
It's that time.
Here we go.
It's only 3 o'clock.
Salud.
Salud. All right, well, you guys know what the show's about. Just bringing people from the cleaning industry together, talking shop on the industry from a staffing perspective, technology, business, suppliers, manufacturers. We bring everybody on that has something that they offer to the industry. We bring experts, we bring fellow cleaning business owners, and in this case, fellow technology software developers, founders, and CEOs. So, like I said, thank you, Juan, thank you, Armando, for being here. Juan, let's start with you.
Sure.
How'd you get here? What brought you here today?
Well, you guys invited me here to come and share what we're building with Pipehire and share exactly how is, I guess, the future of HR for home cleaning and janitorial companies. And, we're sharing here how is that building going, and we're happy to explain even more what specific questions you want me to share.
Well, I have to say, I saw it 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Completely different from what I saw.
That's right.
He was saying, like, dude, you need to see what Juan is building.
Yeah.
So, wow.
Yeah, we made a lot of progress, and we have very clear where we're going, and I think that's what makes the product evolve faster without wasting time.
Armando, what about you? I know, we get to see each other every once in a while, but you've been behind closed doors. Working on something.
You know what? We are, as mentioned, we're working diligently, head down, really trying to redevelop all things in the janitorial store. So we're almost at the finish line. We're going to be ready to launch July 1st. But yes, as with all development, you're never across the finish line. You're always finding issues. You're always almost there. But the beautiful thing is that by July 1st, we will be able to launch something for all of our users. So anybody that's currently on the platform, being able to see something new, reinvented, it's exciting. It's exciting. But yes, we've been head down, hidden under rocks, just building it.
So guys, just so you know too, a big purpose for us coming together. We love to talk about technology and how important it is, but I think it's pretty unique in this scenario that you guys have heard me talk about it before. Ricky, you hear me talk about it all the time. The 2 S's. Being in the cleaning industry still, right, through Rosalato, sales and staffing. Right? Operations in general, obviously, is always key.
Yeah.
But sales and staffing is what helps a company go from starting to start to build, to start to expand and grow. So I thought it was fitting to have Juan here, Pipehire, and what you're doing with the human resources and management, bringing technology there. Janitorial store, the employee, right? Empowering the employee with certifications, the tests, the formats, the LMS, and then us from the sales perspective, right? Where, again, it's not going to be all about technology today. Like, we're going to talk about, we all come from the cleaning space, right? You worked at Rosalato with us, learned it from the bottom up. Ricky started a residential cleaning company, then opened up commercial cleaning. Juan, you're still involved with the cleaning company.
18 years in it.
This is it's a unique situation for me because we all come from the cleaning space and we're building tech for the space.
Correct.
But it's not just about tech, it's the people, right? We all know technology can only do so much. I think one of our main topics and main points today is going to be how does technology help the business owner fire themselves, or the business owner to work on the business versus in the business. And again, tech doesn't solve everything, but it helps.
Yeah. You know what? I think that's a great subject, simply because it's the main thing that most business owners want to accomplish. How do I run a successful company but be absent? How do I get to enjoy life, be on the beach, go out and golf, while my company is
And it's
running-
okay.
And it's
okay.
and it's okay. You don't have to sit and check your phone and see whether or not the company's running and whether or not employees showed up to clean the accounts, right? It's actually functioning, it's running successfully, and you're out somewhere else.
Well,
Doing what you
at
love.
one point, you want to become what they call the TFO, the freaking owner,
Yeah.
right? That's the goal. And when you realize that technology is your friend, it's not your enemy, because a lot of people are, oh, I have to learn the system. Like, it's your friend. Like the book, buy back your time, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's what we try to accomplish.
Exactly, and technology is just one aspect, right? Of course, having the right team players in place in order for you to entrust them with certain processes and things like that. Who's going to run the technology, right? Checking in on certain things, and the people are paramount to that process of removing yourself. But it's a technology that allows you to build something that's actually scalable, right?
Like processes, right?
Processes, just repeatable processes.
I want to talk about, you run a remote business.
Yeah.
But I have a funny story of my team yells at me when I get involved because they always go back to, Rick, we have a process. Like the processes are in place. You don't need to check in. You don't need to call in. We got this. Again, tech is a part of it, but it's the process though. Like they're like, dude, we got a system, man.
Definitely, I think cleaning companies or business owners can really retard themselves or fire themselves when the two most important aspects are fully automated and have a process, which is sales and hiring. When those two components are really in sync and they are constantly doing their job, and there's a team and there's a process behind that, the remaining part is really the cleaning the account, which obviously is very important. But the most things that we spend time on as business owners is really finding employees and finding customers. So those are the most two important things that we need to get solved right from the get-go to really, free ourselves of the day-to-day operations.
Such a good point. Let me ask you this. You run a very successful company out of Dallas. You live in Orlando.
In Miami.
I'm sorry, you live in Orlando.
Yeah.
You live in Miami. You're living the life. You're on vacation mode 24/7, literally. What triggered you, or what made you comfortable enough to step out and actually move to Miami, knowing that things were running, right? Because you said sales and hiring people, staffing, right?
Right.
Biggest headaches, but you were able to do it. At what point did you identify that as the opportunity to solve so that you can remove yourself?
Basically, when I moved to Miami, our company was still very small. I was reading back then the 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. So I said, and I was reading the E-Myth by Michael Gerber. So I said, I'm gonna apply these two books to my cleaning company and see if I can make it work. So we didn't have it figured out back then. This was 10 years ago. But we said that we have some, basic amount of customers and employees. So let's try to push to our next level. And that's when we started to applying these concepts. And we noticed started to work, and that we were not necessarily needed presently in Dallas every day to see our employees. So, we got rid of cars, we got rid of all the operations that needed us day-to-day seeing employees on a, face-to-face. So we eliminated all these processes and, send them from their homes to their customers' houses. At some point, we noticed this worked, and we started to grow, and eventually I said, well, if I want to keep growing this company, I need to hire more people, because sales are really connected to my amount of staff that I have at hand. If I don't have enough staff, I cannot have more sales. So that's when I started to hit the ceiling of I don't have enough people. And I kind of started to, dabble into how can I fix this problem for me? And eventually I started to build this solution for that for my own cleaning company and build it out. And that helped us. That's how Pipehire was created. But we started really as an internal tool to help us solve this problem. And I've noticed that if we as cleaning companies cannot solve the hiring part and the sales part very well, we'll always be at a certain revenue level and we will not scale.
Yeah. All right. I got something hot right now. We might have to take a shot after this. Hold on. So follow me, guys. All right. So, because your piece was the missing piece in my head right now. But you said earlier, automate sales, automate hiring.
Yeah.
I would even say automate training, right? And I'll start with that one first, because what did we talk about earlier is it is difficult to do. As big as I'm growing in this office, I cannot fund or have the opportunity to train daily and have staff here without an account for them to go to. So if the goal is, training is so important that you can't send a technician in the field without training, right? That's like you want that.
Yeah.
Tough. Automate it by having training videos, by having a platform that they can train and take tests and take quizzes and get better, right? So that was a missing piece, but sales, we're trying to help solve the contracts coming to your plate, contracts coming to your inbox, your email, you are receiving them without having to go out there and do what? Expense labor to go out there and have a sales force. Not everybody can afford 5 sales guys, right? Or saleswomen.
Yeah.
Hiring. Again, if you do it the manual way, you have a lot of labor going out there to find employees. So if we're creating an automation for inbound applicants coming in, inbound contracts coming in, inbound training videos being given to the staff while they're in the field, because we don't have the luxury of them being in the office.
Correct.
And so I got goosebumps right now.
We're done.
No, think about it. Again, you can't automate everything. We know that, but these are what you said, they're core critical functions that everywhere else you do need to be involved and show face and be there. But those parts we can't.
Yeah, I think that's so important. Absolutely, pour them up. I think even when it comes down to so you have the sales, right, that are coming in. They're in your inbox. Great, I'd love this opportunity. I need to hire somebody. Well, let's create a job offer specific to the location, which is very unique to Pipehire. I absolutely love that you guys have that feature. Being able to create a job offer, and if it's a multi-location facility, being able to create multiple job offers for each individual location. I think I love that. I love that you guys have built that. But then also, what happens then? Well, what happens after? How do you train them? If you can't bring everybody on site numerous times a week to get prepared for those accounts that are popping up.
You gotta meet them where they are.
You gotta meet them where they are.
Not just getting prepared, because as you were saying that, it's actually ongoing.
Yeah, it doesn't stop.
How do you bring them every week? You can't.
Exactly, and being able to even just automate that process, right, where you have a place, a platform where you can invite your new employees, you can create the standard general cleaning, restroom cleaning, whatever the case may be, or even cleaning specific to the type of account that you're going to assign to them, right? So now you have a standard. It's not about, hey, this is a one size fits all, but it's a standard here. Here's the basics. This is what you should know by the time you arrive at the account on Monday.
You feel confident.
And now you feel confident, exactly. So now your employee knows what they're walking into. You feel confident knowing that they at least know the basics, and then they'll get their on-site training once they actually get there. If that's how you run your training process, right? But then again, then you have your weekly or monthly, quarterly trainings where you're re-engaging to ensure that everybody's trained up to speed with all new things with cleaning.
I've noticed that companies that laid out a career path for their employees tend to retain people longer. So, they start as a cleaner and they move up to supervisor, manager, whatever. And I think what you're doing will really help complete this part, because not everybody can afford to create videos, create training courses. And I think by you having this
ladder of success
will ultimately help the most important piece of this, which is retaining employees.
The people's everything.
Yeah. If you retain people longer, you retain that revenue.
And they get they go from technician to supervisor to manager to your pool of talent is within the company.
And I think we have the opportunity also to change the conception of that cleaning is not just whatever job, that there is a career path to go. And I think you have the opportunity to do that with the Janitorial store, because nobody's doing that.
When you said, people, not everyone can create videos and do all that for training, I was thinking about the same thing, because if you think that that's saving money, it's not. How much time, money has to be involved and doing it right. So when we were going through your software, I don't have to be an expert at hiring to actually hire the right way, because you're showing me with the qualifications, 8 players, 2 players. Oh, wow.
I'm sorry. Not No, let's actually talk about that real quick too, because I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
Where I was talking to some of the team too. Is so I got shameless plug for Juan here with Pipehire, but yeah. So what we saw was A player, B player, C player. So if you think about the talent that's out there, staffing is hard. Finding employees is very difficult. And then when you make a job posting, again, I'm just speaking from experience. We make a job posting, it's a janitorial technician, hourly rate, how many hours are going to work, the experience that we're looking for, pretty copy and paste type of thing.
Yeah.
When they apply, a resume doesn't always tell you everything. And then when they come, let's say we get 40 people that hit the post. Out of the 40, maybe 2 or 3 are good. But with the ABC, like if they really cared to apply for a company like ours, they would answer these questions that you have.
Right.
And you guys, what it does though is they're at your doorstep. Calendly's booked, right? The interview's booked, but if it's an A player, I couldn't believe that. Like the fact that now the inbound is even that much better. You vetted the type of person based on
your particular needs.
Yeah, like again, everybody's different.
Yeah,
for us, let's call it a 15-minute radius. A deal breaker is if you're 30 minutes out.
Yeah.
That may not be for everybody.
Not for
But
everyone,
so then that means the time that we spend on actually interviewing is 80% better and more equipped to hire that talent versus 8 people that come in. We have no idea who they are, just the resume, and they came in and applied.
Shooting in the
and they're
dark.
all C players.
Yeah, correct.
Again, the definition of ABC is how much information they give us and how qualified they are when they come.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's where we see the most impact on companies. We've noticed that they reduce about 75% of time spent on hiring. So imagine that now you reduce 75% of the waste. You are now focused, and your HR team is just focused on talking to the right people, the good candidates. And that's where the most impact comes in, and that's what we get a lot of people mentioning. It's like, hey, you're saving me time, and you're pinpointing me with colors, red, yellow, or green. Who's the person I should talk to?
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing that people really can get out of Pipehire.
Because think about it's really not fair to recruiters or HR of your company when they did the task. They put the job posting out there. They put it on all the channels. They've got influx of people coming in. That's when technology helps. Helps. Shorten the span of time.
And I hear a lot of this complaint of Indeed. Indeed is obviously the mothership and sends you all this amount of volume, but because their revenue model is based on applications, right? So if they send 20 applications, and you have to mark them, as a good candidate or rejected, if you have 72 hours to do that.
If not, it's automatic.
If not, they start charging you, and their motivation is to really send you volume.
Right.
Volume.
It doesn't matter if it's qualified.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's qualified. They say, look, they have in their resume a line that says cleaning technician. Boom.
Boom.
There you go.
Hey, I met your qualification.
Yeah, you met your qualification. Now deal with it. And if it's a Sunday and you're, having fun on a Sunday, and suddenly you got 10 employees that apply a couple of days before, now you're hit with $200 of unqualified applicants. Monday morning comes and like, oh gosh, we got charged for all these people that we never had time to reject. So that is a huge problem that I'm seeing, and people are tired of that. They don't want to pay for bad quality leads, and Pipehire is really helping them, screen them and really spend the time where it matters.
That means that this episode will definitely not be sponsored by Indeed.
No.
But all jokes aside, I love that there's that rubric, that qualification process that you allow each Pipehire user determine, right? I love that there's a rubric and it leaves all emotion out of it,
Definitely.
right? It's not, hey, this person showed up, they seemed like they were really good, which is typically what we do, right? Man, that person was
amazing,
dropping bombs during the interview. Guys, he's the man. He might be the next president of the company, right? And they show up the next day and they never swept a facility any time in their life.
But I feel like that's where technology helps, because now it's not about, let's say that you do the hiring as a business owner, and you want to walk away tomorrow. So then what? You're gonna have to train someone.
Yeah.
That person that you train decides to leave. So then what? That's where technology takes place, and
Definitely.
it's much easier to have that tool.
Yeah, I've noticed that the biggest part that makes a business owner not take off vacation and do other projects or companies is the hiring part. They're like, I don't know how to train my staff to make the same decisions when it comes to hiring. I don't know how to to give my information from my head to your head. And it's because it has a lot of the gut feelings and
Because it's still human.
It's very human.
Think about, take
Plus-
that human out, like,
yeah.
human involved there, human involved in training, right? I'm guilty of like, no, we have to have the right trainer to train. We gotta have experience, or we gotta have this. We can't just throw anybody at training. Well, I mean, take the human out, and if you have videos and you have the standard,
Correct.
then you don't need the human. Sales. People don't like to, I'm the only one who can close the deal. I'm the only one who can do the walkthrough. I'm the only one who can sell. No, you're not, and you don't have to be if, again, you embrace solutions and processes.
And when you do these type of processes in your company for sales and hiring, you are putting a standard now, which then everybody can learn from and apply, versus you having everything in your head. And that's what I see a lot of companies end up failing, because everything depends if the owner executes or does this or teaches or trains people. And in reality, we all want to have fun and do other things and enjoy life, and training people all the time about hiring and sales. Super fun.
We should
It's hard.
think about. I like we're always the theme is standard. Like I actually like sticking to that word, where even though it should have been pre-COVID, we should have had high cleaning standards. COVID happened. Now we're getting higher standards. We should even raise those standards, right? And you do that by what we're talking about right now, right?
And it's funny because the cleaning industry as a whole, when we're talking about the amount of businesses and things like that, right? We have a lot. We had 1.21 million different cleaning companies in the United States, right? As the last report shows. When we look at that, right, a lot of them are smaller, right? But I feel like there's still this like huge barrier to entry to technology when it comes to us. This is like us trying to not raise the standard, but bring the standard that is very alive and well in every other industry for a business owner and carry it over into the cleaning industry. Because the reality is most companies have their POS systems, most companies have a hiring structure, most companies have these foundational truths, right? Yeah. The standard, and that's what makes them successful, right? That's what allows them to actually scale, grow, so on and so forth. Fire themselves and bring somebody else in, right? Repeatable processes so that they can continue to grow.
Well, so think, Armando, you guys are solving some niche problems, and you've got those problems. You're solving niche problems. We're solving some niche problems.
Right.
I know we fell victim. You probably thought about it in your head. You also did too. Is we wanted to build the one-stop shop.
One-stop shop.
One thing that solves it all. Again, nothing against any softwares that are that or can do that. But if you hear how we're talking to here, guys, right? See or hear, Juan is very passionate about the hiring component.
Right.
Armando's passionate. I mean, he even went to Hollywood to shoot some professional videos. Very passionate about the training of the staff, the empowering of the team, the ladder of success and all that, what you got going. We're focused on contracts, opportunities to grow their business, sales, right? I would argue, like, you want to use multiple solutions that are serving you as a user and the community. That's something that they're passionate and going to be great at. Right. Versus, we're going to be good in all these things, so we're a good solution. No, we're going to be great. Pipehire is great for a certain thing. Route's great for a certain thing. Janitorial store is great for a certain thing. Yeah. That's our challenge, is how do we work together and make it seamless and easy for a user to use? Because you're right, adoptions of technology in the cleaning industry, it's slow. It's happening though, but it's slow. So it's our job to make it easier. Yeah. And everybody else who's out there building tech too.
Yeah, well, salute to that.
Salute to that. Ricky was holding back. I think yours is the biggest shot, Ricky.
Here we go.
Little oaky, right? It's got the little wood barrel and the.
But that's good.
Yeah.
But that is good. We won't say who it is because we're not sponsored by them. but we will send you an email. And if you do feel the need to reply and answer with a yes, like we were back in high school, and circle yes if you like the date, we will give you a shout out.
Now, talking about adoption, it's also about using technology the right way. Because I'm guilty of, I'm a tech person. That's my background, and I'm guilty of when I had my cleaning company was, let me come up with all these different solutions. So I had to hire people. Okay, let me use Google Sheet or Excel to have a list of potential employees. Okay, let me use this other Excel to have a potential CRM. And all of a sudden you have like 5 or 10 Excel spreadsheets.
Yeah.
Everything goes through email. You want to find something, stuff doesn't get updated, and I feel like that's the benefit to use technology.
Yeah, adding to that, you eventually start to connect through Zapier, and now you have all these, different ones. But the biggest mistake companies make is to run every single process on spreadsheets. I think it's a good starting point.
It's a good starting point.
We're kind of
Because you
organized
go
the
through
process.
the exercise or the motion.
Yeah. But to really manage all your hiring process, all your sales process, when there's very specific tools for that specific problem, is really,
It becomes more expensive because you lose on gaining more money in a way.
Correct.
Because think about it, guys, the solutions that we have, and solutions that are out there, right? Again, tech in general. But every day we practice and involves a lot. As much as we're growing, we still have manual processes.
Yeah.
And what we've challenged the team is, okay, you do it your way. Awesome, you get it done. That's great. I'm not saying it's not good that you get it done that way, but how many entries did you have to get that, right? And then can you do one thing to then deliver me an entire list of KPIs or a quick dashboard view of a report of what you just did? What are the results? No, give me a day. I got it. That's the point is the fact that you can pull information quickly, again, it helps you and allows you to scale.
Data is useful when you can make decisions.
Data-driven
decisions with data-driven decisions. Otherwise, it's just data. What's the point?
So think about one. Here we go. This is a cool note, like a tie it all together, right? You win a contract. Awesome. Congratulations. You're pumped. You're excited. Next, do you have staff for that contract? No. Okay. I got to go out to market. Or maybe you do. You got to go into your system. Again, go on the map. Who lives close to that account? Who can take that account? If you don't have somebody that can service that account, you got a 2-week time window. You got to post a job, interview, hire, get them trained up, ready to go. And again, it's a process. This is, I don't care how big or small, residential, commercial. Those are 3 key components of then you're working the account. Staff is assigned, they're performing the cleaning. Now you're in a whole other evolution. Workforce management, right? Operations. Then comes billing. Again, we're not solving everything here, but we solve and help with some components. And that's what makes it exciting to be here with you guys and talking shop, because there's a lot of work to be done. So I would say, because our audience is mostly commercial, but I think we're getting more and more residential.
Yeah.
Let's have you two speak on the residential side. Like, how different is it to use systems and processes than it is, especially commercial now too, Ricky? Like, what are residential companies challenged and tasked to do manually versus through tech on the home service side? And can they scale? Is it possible to scale on residential?
Before really quick, I do want to share a thought, and that is actually a really good point that you brought up, is when we're talking about technology, and as I'm coaching a client or I'm on the call, or one of our customer service reps sends me a message in regards to this, it's always, man, that's good, but I'm on the residential side. I don't think I need that much technology. I don't think I need to implement X, Y, and Z.
So guys, how about this one too? I want to bring this back. People enjoy when we do shared experiences. So I can go first, but we're talking about so much stuff. Let's talk about that first year in business, right? I'm gonna go back to my first year. Well, shit, my first year I was manual. I did everything manual, so there's no point talking about that. My second year in business. Let's talk about the first solutions we used.
Okay.
I was doing payroll on a napkin and a piece of paper. I would call my staff, hey, how many hours did you work? You worked 14? Cool. Are you sure? All right, cool. So that was my payroll, guys, right?
Yeah.
And then invoicing. I would write how much I'm supposed to invoice, and I would forget when I got to send the invoice. So the first two tools or softwares I signed up for was ADP and QuickBooks. So for me, my manual systems that bogged me down were pen and paper payroll and pen and paper invoicing. You guys.
For us was the scheduling part. We used to have just a big board, whiteboard with names.
Oh, I still got a whiteboard.
So we started there and then evolved to Google Calendar. Obviously this is 18, 17 years, so Google Calendar and all those tools were very basic.
Very basic.
Very, very basic. But that's kind of how we got transitioned to that, but obviously you cannot track time on Google, you cannot create or add photos of the before and after job. So again, yeah, it's a free solution, but still has a lot of limitations. And then obviously there's the hiring component. Started again with spreadsheets, color coding, moving them to a different stage, and at some point, nobody updates these spreadsheets anymore.
No.
They just forget that.
So you have to have somebody man the spreadsheet.
Yeah, correct.
It becomes a job.
It becomes a job to update spreadsheets, and that is a mistake we make constantly in everything. At some point, you have to move on to a specific tool to solve that problem. And spreadsheets are great. It's the most important software out there, I guess, but it has its limitations, and you don't have to rely completely on those tools, because there's really, really good tools out there that are affordable that will do the job 100 times better.
For us, it was a little bit different because we hit that probably 2 years in. Because the first year, when my wife and I decided to open our business, we said, okay, there are other cleaning companies, and it works out, so it's gonna work for us. So day one, we didn't have a client, but we had a software. Lunch 27. Like day one, we had a software, no clients. We opened our LLC through our accountant, and she was actually our first client. So day one, we were ready with the software side, but the problems that we started to encounter, like hiring, right? We wanted a list of possible applicants. Man, okay, we didn't use software. We used an Excel sheet. Or complaints. Okay, let's use an Excel sheet. And that's when we said, oh, okay, hold on a second. There's probably a better way, because it becomes a full-time job just to keep up with them. Or even the office manager. Oh man, it's difficult to hire an office manager, VA. And that's where you start learning. This is our first business, so we started learning, oh, okay, so if we want to step away, we want to work on the business, we have to replace. So literally, we went through every single action in the business and how we could replace it in order to scale. So that was probably 2 years in.
Yeah. And then Armando, when you started working at Rosalado, learning the industry, maybe from your point, give me a shared experience from, you're a team member on a cleaning company. Did you observe things that were being done? I won't take offense.
Man, I got a few.
Did you just see man, there's got to be a better way?
Yeah.
I feel like that moment is when you start to challenge the status. Right. Right.
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. So immediately brings me back to a conversation you and I had. I actually shared it with these guys when you were out a little bit ago. But it was, so as you guys know, when I first started off, Ricky promised me a week of cleaning, and that'd be good to keep going with the sales and marketing. That was not the case. It ended up being 6 months of cleaning, right?
So you're a better person.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I'm a better person. One must walk through hell to be a better person, apparently. But I went and did a walkthrough. I came back and and then I showed you the pictures and the notes and things like that. And I asked you, what is this going to cost? What do I quote them? Yeah. Right? Immediately, I'm thinking, man, this, how is he going to come up with this? Well, your response to me, I don't know if you remember this, your response to me was, oh, that's a 3 hours a day clean. Okay, we did the math and you gave me a monthly number to quote them. And I said, man, how did you come up with this? And you said, man, it's up here. We got a few accounts and it reminds me of them, and that's how I came up with the number. Well, to me, that was a problem because I'm a processes type of person, right? I like systems. I like scalable processes. And when I can't tangibly touch something and say, this is how I did it, it's a problem. So that was my first opportunity is how do we take what's up here and create a formula for it, right? So immediately I started to think about the sales process in its entirety, productivity rates, how much space can we actually clean within an hour, so on and so forth. How does a facility or the type of facility impact those productivity rates and all that good stuff, right? So it was still,
spreadsheets, they serve a purpose.
they served its purpose, but it was good because we went from, let's ask Ricky what we should quote this job to, all right, let's plug in the numbers, square footage, type of facility, density levels, and then let's go ahead and come up with the number. So it went from, just his idea or his thought process behind how we should quote somebody to here's an actual formula. And now, of course, route and all that, right? That's how it evolved into being something like that.
Because that was everybody's problem, right? That's literally where, and then, it's like, there's got to be a better way.
So I think
when you go back to the
products get created.
There's got to be a better way.
we just learned about the real visionary behind
Oh, good shit! Come on, this guy.
I didn't want to formulate it in that way, but I'll let the viewers decide. No, but the second thing was, as we look at the industry and as we look at problems, I'm always looking for problems to solve, right? And one of the biggest problems and headaches that we deal with is employee churn rates, right? So that was probably the next thing is, why do people churn, right? You got to think back, and if we think about the book Extreme Ownership.
Oh,
right?
He's coming to Chicago.
Oh, is
He's
it?
coming to the Vic.
Oh, is he sponsoring this?
No.
Oh, okay. It's know who he is. No, but if we think about that, right, and we start to look at problems, we think back, well, what could we have done better? And in the process that we use to train people, and at Rosalado is, well, we'll meet you on site and we'll start the training process and all that good stuff, right? But if we're trying to solve a problem, I felt like there were some areas of opportunity even within that in itself, right, is how do we get them prepared before they arrive on site?
Always the magic fucking recipe.
Exactly, right? So then how do we keep them engaged? How do we satisfy them and meet their needs when it comes to them being an employee at a company, right? So I think that in itself is something that we're trying to solve with the Janitorial store. I think that we've definitely hit the nail on the head on a lot of those things. And that's another thing that I had noticed is how do we create a process and automation or solve for that, right? Is getting the employee trained prior to getting on site to create that standard, and then how do we keep re-engaging them so that they can keep evolving within the company. This is a career. It's not just a stepping stone. It could be created.
Because the thing about it, sales is king, but I would argue it's the number one thing. I know people say people. Trust me, I get people are number one. But if you're not selling and creating revenue, you can't hire
Anyone,
people.
yeah.
So
Right.
I feel that's the funnel for the opportunity comes. But would you guys agree? Because I like to feel like you saw. Everybody here is happy, right? Everybody's happy in this company, right? No, if you create happiness or a culture that people enjoy to come to work, they care about the brand, they care about the people that are there working side by side. I know you were like, dude, it's been 3 months, I gotta fucking stop. You told me I was done. But
everybody stop for 1 second. Let's review the clip. I said 6 months.
Right, so but we were by your side. Right?
Yeah.
Like we were grinding with you.
Yeah.
So ownership and management has to never forget to grind and work side by side. Technology doesn't solve culture. Technology doesn't solve the human to human connection. So that's one thing we can't ever forget, where you need, this is about the people too. The people need to be served. We serve them as ownerships, at C-level or upper management, right? Middle management. And if you're doing it up here, everybody else will start to do it. So even if they're the technician on site, and they got this will be the dream, right? You're a technician who's just a technician. They're not even a lead. They're on site, and it's somebody's first day. They just made that person's first day a great first thing. That means you're doing something from the top all the way
Yeah,
down.
you know what's funny?
I know you're gonna cheers to that, right?
No,
Are you gonna
salud.
cheers to that?
Yeah, well, I was gonna cheers with tequila, but
Oh, that's coming up, that's coming up. We got about 3 minutes. We got about 3
When he
minutes.
said everyone is happy, I was gonna say everyone is happy after Casa Azul. I thought it was too late.
Blue House. No, but you know what? I was on my way home on a flight
Oh my God.
from Hollywood. Not just, we were out there
Here we go.
shooting stuff, but
The new stuff.
no. But the guy sitting next to me, and he was coming to Chicago from California, and they were doing training, UPS. I didn't know UPS did this, but I think it's an amazing concept, and it ties to what you were saying. They train all their management to run their department as their own business.
Wow.
I think in doing so, we hear a lot about.
Dominic just said this, remember? This is literally what you were just
No,
saying.
it's amazing because
Yeah.
we hear that we should empower our employees to take ownership of the departments, their responsibilities, their tasks, those that report to them. But when you empower somebody to be an owner of that department and create this ownership atmosphere, I think the mindset completely shifts because now it's, I own this. This is mine. This is my
falls on
department.
my plate.
Exactly, it falls. Everything from good to bad rises and falls on leadership, on that department manager, right? So if we're able to do that for our employees and create that ownership mindset, as UPS is doing, so shout out to them. I mean, I honestly had no idea, and I think it's a great concept. I think that will trickle down to what does a technician do when a new, hire arrives on site? Are they kind of standoffish? Are they, hey, man, you go do this, I go do that? Or are they taking extreme ownership and saying, man, I'm running
If you're
this
gonna work
as-
here, like.
Exactly, I'm running this as if it were my business, and the first impression is key, right? How am I introducing them? How am I expecting them to portray who we are as a culture, right? So, I don't know, I just thought I'd throw that out there. It was-
Chick-fil-A's success
Oh,
really.
dude, you get a day off and you're still one of the
That-
most
that's-
successful fast food restaurants.
It's part of that because they cannot own. I have a friend that's a franchise. He's not a franchise owner. He's just a hired owner manager of this location. They pay him like $250 a year. Yeah.
Wow.
But
Don't get any ideas.
Are they hiring? Or what?
they go through like a very extensive process. They have to pay $10,000 to get to apply to run that location. So they get the best of the best just by that. They don't own anything, but they get very well paid because they say, this is your store, run it. And that's what makes those Chick-fil-A locations so successful. Because, they are not in paper the owners, but in mentality and by processes, they have to run the thing.
Yeah.
And that's what makes Chick-fil-A so successful compared to any other fast food chain. It's just their sales per location are like triple what a regular McDonald's does. Wow. Can you see
Yeah,
that?
let me ask you this. How can you, as a business owner of Pipehire or your cleaning business, empower me to be an owner if everything's up here?
Training them. Passing the training and passing the responsibility.
I see your point. But if everything is up here, then you gotta be training everyone all the time. You can't. It's process.
You can't.
You gotta create systems and
The systems, the process, and the technology.
It was a trick question.
It was a trick question.
Yeah,
It was
okay.
a trick question.
I see it now.
Guys, we went way over it. See, this is what happens when you have good conversations. But, any last one-liner tip, something you want to leave for everybody that's listening? Well, we'll start with you first.
Sure. I think we always think of hiring as the most important thing we have to do, but in reality, if you think of an iceberg, right? The top part that you see above water is just a small piece of the iceberg. So I see that hiring is that top piece of the iceberg. Then you go underwater and you see more of the iceberg. That's management. And at the very bottom, biggest piece of this big iceberg is the retention of employees. So always think as these three areas: hiring, management, retention. That's really what's gonna keep the whole operation working versus just thinking, I need to hire 10 people.
Nice. Ricky.
Um,
The Ricky.
No, I'm not the.
Not the.
I'm just Ricky.
No.
So, no, I would say to people like, see technology as your friend, right? I have to bring up Steve Jobs. He once said, I'm an Apple guy.
El Jobs.
So he once said, the computer is a bicycle for the mind. So think of technology as a tool to help you scale, to help you become better, to help you grow your business. Not as a replacement, but as a tool that's going to help you.
Yeah, that's really, really good. I think if I were to leave a thought is this. There's a standard for all things. And when you think about your business and you think about removing yourself and living the luxurious life that you once planned when you first started the business, whether it's you wanting to step aside and live well or pass it down to a family member or sell sometime in the future, think about that, right? And then think about the standard business-wise, not in the industry, just business-wise. Think like, I always tell this to my coaches, is think as if you were and operate as if you were that $1 million company today. Most aren't, right? What is it about them that they have created as a standard to get to that level?
Yeah.
If you want to move the scale or the standard up, 5 million, 10 million, what is it about them? Yeah. What is the standard that they have put in place? These systems and processes, technology, software, it's not new. You can get there. It's just about the mindset that you carry behind the standard. What is the standard? Now let's raise the bar. Let's get there. Anybody can do it. You can be that company. It's just a matter of getting to that point.
Nice. Well, you don't have to hear from me. You always do every day. That's all I needed, guys. Those are great points. You guys, that was money shots. So let's end with a cheers.
All right.
Thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it.
Cheers.
Thank you guys for tuning in and Cleaning Cocktails. This was a special in-live session. So thank you guys again. Appreciate it. Until the next one.
Salud.
Salud.
Salud.